Hello and welcome to the First Citizen Guy channel. I'm the First Citizen Guy, and today it is Sleep Token Sunday, episode 16. We are going through these now like nobody's business, but I have to say we're going to slow down just a little bit. One, I'm not feeling 100%. You might be able to hear it in my voice. I've got the man flu. But two, it's just too hot. I can't be doing a 2 hour sesh. I'm really sorry. So today I'm just going to be reacting to two songs. All right. So we've just finished the Ascensionism. We're now going to move on to the next song, which of course is Are You Really Okay? And then the Apparition. All right. So I'm sorry. I know you guys earmark Sundays and you earmark the songs, but we're just going to just slow down and just do two today. You've probably also realized that I've got a different background. Yes, I'm currently away visiting my mother. I know I'm such a good son. I've got all my kids and my nieces and nephews wailing downstairs. So I've found a little cubby hole in the house. But I couldn't obviously miss this, guys. So yeah, apologies for all the boxes and stuff in the background, but we still had to do this, right? So let's just get on with it, all right? Are you really okay? We've just finished Ascensionism, and one of the key things that he says at the end is, you're going to watch me ascend. And then he says, you make me wish I could disappear. Now, what I think is currently at play at the moment is, and through the songs that we've heard so far, is that Vessel is at a point now where he is going through old memories, old fragments of the past relationship, of the projection, seeing now the person for who they really, really are, understanding how that's kind of affected him, both from a relationship emotional standpoint, but also trying to figure out how that's changed him within himself as well, psychologically. And the anema projection, he understands, is pretty much integrated. So now he's trying to understand what that means for him, I think, inside. And I'm really interested to see where Are You Really Okay goes, because who is he talking to here? What's the perspective? All right, first listen. Are you really okay? Oh, it's just the guitar so far. Oh, wow. His voice is so deep and rich. Oh, God. Okay, so before we go any further, let's just break this down. I mean, just it's again, it's so bad off the back of Ascensionism, which was just in your face. It was loud, screaming, and then it ended with such a crushing one sentence of "You make me wish I could disappear," and then you've come into "Are you really okay?" where it's just the guitar and Vessel. with that lovely, beautiful, smooth, warm, inviting sound that he has, that is like giving you a warm hug, but crushing you at the same times in terms of the emotional backdrop of it. So let's break this down. So I raised you in the dark, caught you reading by the sunrise. You wandered from the path through the silence of the hillside. He's so clever with muddling up the perspective of these songs to the point where it literally could be to another person. It could be to the shadow, to, himself, to the anema, uh, to sleep. There's so many different perspectives that this could possibly fit into straight off the bat. But I raised you in the dark. It's like this is where the unconscious lives, right? In the darkness. This is where the shadow, the trauma, and I raised you in the dark. It's like he's talking to that side of his psyche, right? Now you could say this is sleep, the shadow, the unconscious, and he's now starting to integrate. He knows he's integrated the anema. Is this now the start of him actually integrating the shadow? And I raised you in the dark where I buried you, the trauma. Right? So you bury it, but what you're doing is that you're raising it in the darkness, right? You're putting it away to one side. But on the flip side, you're raising it. Yeah. You're creating something in the darkness. Oh my God. Caught you reading by the sunrise. Sorry if I'm going to be spluttering throughout this. Caught you reading in the sunrise. It's almost like, again, if we're going with the darkness being the unconscious and then the sunlight, sunrise being the conscious, I caught you reading in the sunrise or by the sunrise. It's almost like I've seen glimpses of you. I caught you there. I saw you. He's caught hidden parts of himself. And is this now him sort of it all starting to emerge into the consciousness? It's starting to bleed into his conscious thoughts. You wandered from the path. And again, if he's talking about a partner, then it's very literal. You wandered from the path, you strayed offline, into something that maybe wasn't right for you. Okay. But if you're saying you wandered from the path psychologically, you could say that he's talking about the suppressed parts of his psyche. So you wandered from the path through the silence of the hillside. Oh, that's just gorgeous, isn't it? So it's almost like he's discovering something that has always been there in the background. It wandered from the path, the conscious, the ego, and it's always been lurking in the darkness there in the unconscious. But it's saying here through the silence of the hillside, it's like that silent assassin. It's always been there, niggling at him silently. And with the unconscious and the sort of suppressed trauma and emotions, Jung always said it leaks into your dreams. That's where it's kind of prevalent, is in the unconscious. It's when you're in that dreamlike state and it starts to bleed and leak into your conscious that way through symbols and exactly the way that kind of Vessel almost talks about it, you know, uh, through relationships, projections, and behaviors. I could see it in you even then. And here you could say that he could see the darkness within him, even when he consciously understood it. Oh, wow. So even way back when he tried to put this thing, whatever it was, whatever happened to him, whether that's the relationship or what, but when he first started sort of fracturing. So there was obviously a moment in time when this first happened and he put this these emotions to one side to suppress them. And even then, he knew that it was there, that it wasn't right. But in order to carry on with his life, he felt that was the only way that he could move forward. And don't you know, I was trying to hold back the darkness. Yeah, so again, he's just amplifying the need to suppress this, to bury it, so that he didn't have to face it because that was just too much for him. And then, are you really okay? I mean, if excuse me, if you're saying, are you really okay to the other person, you're wanting to understand them, try and help them, figure out what's going on inside them, why they're hurting so much. But if you're saying, if the you is him, and he uses that word you a lot, and he never directly explicitly says who the you is, which I think is the whole point of all of the songs of Sleep Token, is that they can be interpreted right in so many different ways. You, the other person, you is in part of his psyche, himself, the anema, the sleep, the shadow, etc., right? So you, but if you take you as in me or am I really okay? I mean, that changes the whole perspective of this song and what it truly means. It's almost like he's asking that question, are you really okay after everything that I have done to you through, you know, throughout all this time? And this could even go back to, childhood is when, all this kind of stuff really started to happen. Maybe this is a build-up of years and years of various different traumas, or relationships. Right. Let's. Oh, slight reverb on that snare. Oh, oh my God. God, those drums. Oh. Oh my God. What? Oh, wow. Oh my God, this is absolutely crushing. that guitar. Oh, it's just devastating. And you know, whichever way that you look at this, if he is talking about the other person within the relationship, we were discussing in the last episode how he could realize that maybe the other person was projecting onto him as well. So you've got these two people that from the beginning were, like I said, on a crashing course, right? But maybe not in a good way, in an unhealthy way, because they were both projecting on each other, because they both needed to feel wanted and needed by someone else. But that's not the foundation that you build a relationship on, right? You build a relationship on love, on affection, on wanting to be with that other person, on being right for each other, psychologically, emotionally, physically, on all levels, right? This relationship wasn't built on any of that. It was built on need, on necessity, on um, emptiness almost, and it was never going to work. So if you take it whichever way you want, it is soul crushing, because whatever this song is based upon, it's the realization of it never worked, it's never going to work, and how has that affected me, and how has it affected them, and then having to face that and the emotions that brings up: neglect, feeling like you're not wanted, not satisfied, emotionally numb. I mean, all these things. Anyway, let's break it down with the lyrics here. You woke me up one night, dripping crimson on the carpet. I saw it in your eyes, cutting deeper than the scars could run. So again, you could take this literally, right? You could say, woke me up one night. If it's the other person, then imagine seeing that and the trauma that brings to seeing the person that you think that you love, that you're in a relationship with, startling you awake, them potentially self-harming themselves with blood dripping down them. I mean, that's enough to, wow. If you take it from the point where he's talking about himself, that you woke me up one night, um, it's almost like, again, he was in a deep state of dream, and he was startled awake by something, a symbol or something speaking to him, or an emotion that he's feeling within in his dream that startled him awake. And you could say that it's starting to bleed into his conscious now. So, the symbol of dripping crimson on the carpet is, it's dripping and it's bleeding. The unconscious, the trauma, the shadow is starting to bleed into his conscious thoughts. It's to the point where it's startling him awake at night. I saw it in your eyes, cutting deeper than the scars could run. I mean, it's almost like, and I've said this actually in one of the very beginning episodes of this whole thing, is that you can take a lot of these songs and almost imagine Vessel just staring at himself in a mirror, singing these songs to himself. Because if you say, I saw it in your eyes, cutting deeper than the scars could run, it's almost like he's been seeing all of this kind of pain and anguish and trauma that he's been projecting onto the other person for so long. This is like, actually now he's seeing it as himself for the first time. The anema has integrated, and he's finally starting to see all this pain within himself. He's finally recognizing his own pain instead of projecting it onto someone else and seeing their pain. Cutting deeper than the scars could run. I mean, that's either really, really deep, or longer than the scars that are there. But scars are old wounds, right? That have healed, but they've left a mark on them. So again, is this a kind of symbolism for the psychological perspective of almost like the wounds beneath the wounds, if that makes sense, beneath the old wounds? It's like the cycle again of constantly creating and reopening these wounds of, maybe this past relationship, and the mark that it's left on himself. It's fun. It's almost like, you see the scars, or if you have self-harm before, that it's almost like, well, I've dealt with that thing. I've dealt with that trauma. I've dealt with that pain, and that is a kind of reminder of them dealing with that. But obviously, this song is actually about saying, no, you haven't, because it still lives within you. And don't you know, I can see it in you even now. And don't you know, I want to help you, but I don't know how. Oh, I mean, I think this is where the kind of anxious avoidance kind of theory becomes really, really interesting, because imagine Vessel being divided between two psychological impulses. You have the anxious part, I need to fix this. I need to save you, don't leave. And then the avoidant part, this is too much. I need distance. I can't deal with this. So is he simultaneously trying to be the person trying to rescue himself and the person that doesn't know how to let himself be rescued? I mean, that's almost the kind of theme that's been going on through this whole album, if not since we began, about this push and pull, the cycles, and has this whole thing been about this kind of psychological push and pull of him wanting help, but then rejecting it, knowing that he needs help, but not knowing how to get help, or not knowing how to make himself. But I mean, it's just this is, oh God, wow. And are you really okay? Yeah, yeah. And are you really? And he goes, and I cannot fix your wounds this time, but I don't believe you when you tell me you are fine. I mean, that is just, oh, it just breaks your heart. It really, really does. I cannot fix your wounds this time. I think here, if you're looking at it through a young lens, I think this is where the ego has realized I actually cannot any longer control my unconscious thoughts. They are starting to bleed into my everyday life, my way of thinking, whether or not he intentionally knows it's happening, but it's starting, it's waking him up at night. And the thing is, you can't fix the shadow by ordering it to go away. It doesn't just disappear. You can suppress it, which is what he's obviously been doing for such a long time. But now we've got to the stage where he cannot do that anymore. Too much has happened, and he's too tired. His walls are breaking. Um, and he's started, or already started, to see what the relationship really was, that it was never on a, yeah, it was never right for him. He still maybe has feelings, I think, physically for that person, um, because of the attachment, but I think he's realized actually they're not good for him anymore. Um, and so here, when he says, I cannot fix your wounds this time, it's him, you know, understanding that the ego can no longer fix his wounds. He cannot any longer suppress the trauma. He has to integrate, he has to face it. And that is shadow work. I don't believe you when you tell me you are fine. He's caught himself. Um, it's like Vessel has catched himself lying to himself now. He is finally actually being honest to himself about what he is essentially truly feeling in the hearts of hearts. That is huge. And what's really, I think, interesting here is that if you take the song title, Are You Really Okay? You've got the ego on one side saying, yeah, I'm fine. We'll just put that in the box again. But actually, you've got the unconscious going, no, you're not. And that unconscious side of his psyche now is starting to overtake the ego. And he's realizing it right here in real time. The thing that absolutely just, cut me open is please don't hurt yourself again. And here he's pleading because he repeats it, please, please, please. And if he's saying that to someone else, begging them to stop them from doing it, but he doesn't know how to help them, I mean, you're helpless. That is a horrible way to feel, and you cannot help someone out unless they can help themselves. But if you're looking at it from a psychological standpoint, it's almost like he's saying to himself, please don't let this side of me destroy myself again, because it's happened too many times and he's got the scars to prove it. I mean, yeah, it's like I said, the layers are just so interesting, because you've got the layer of the literal relationship, you've got the layer of the projection, and then you've got the layer of the shadow, sleep, trauma, the archetype, the thing that he's trying to integrate in order to become whole. And I don't think I'm wrong in saying that these could all be happening simultaneously alongside each other. I genuinely think that is what's happening here. I think he's playing out, you know, all these layers together, which if you think from a songwriting perspective and how hard that is, I mean, it's just magical. It's sad, it's depressing, but it's also honest, it's vulnerable, it's human nature, and it's what a lot of people suppress. And he is making a lot of people out there that feel like this be more vulnerable, be more open, and get the help that they need. Oh, God. And you know what? The more I kind of think about this as well, in terms of the album title, Take Me Back to Eden, the more and more I'm thinking this is about the psychological state of him wanting to be whole. Take me back to Eden. I think take me back to before the fractious mind, before the fragmentation, before the mask, kind of cut into a million pieces and then came back to cover the wounds, which goes back to, oh God, what was it? Was it Nazareth or Jericho? It was one of the songs from the EP, I think. Um, before kind of biting into that poisonous apple, he wants to go, oh my God, that's just clicked. The poison apple, I didn't even think of that. Oh, what was it? Oh, let me know in the comments because I'm not going to look now, but let me know which song was that when in the video they had the poison apple and he took a bite of it. Oh, Eden, man. So take me back before that happened, before that bite of that apple, before I descended into this chaos, into this trauma, into this relationship. Oh my God, that's just blown my mind. Wow. So is this whole thing then with Sleep Token all about, if we're looking at purely from a Jungian lens, and I'm not saying this is gospel at all to use some of Vessel's lyrics, but it's this whole thing about integration, right? It's about seeing the trauma, living it, breathing it, seeing the relationship for what it really was, and not kind of not sort of poo-pooing it, saying, oh, that never happened. It's saying, no, it absolutely did happen, but it didn't happen for the reasons that I thought it was happening when I was in that situation. And Take Me Back to Eden is all about a different perspective, which I said it in the summoning chokehold, and then Granite was really where it clicked, where I thought, hang on a minute, he was reflecting. Now this is Vessel in present day looking back. Oh my God. Honestly, the spider webs. Amazing. Right. Let's get on to the apparition, shall we? Right. Okay. So before we get into the apparition, let's just check out the meaning of the word. So an apparition is a ghost or a spirit of a dead person that you see suddenly. It can also mean any sudden, strange, or unexpected sight that appears before you. Okay. So let's see. Just get the lyrics up in front of me here. Okay. So let's see how this translates into this song.
Why are you never real? Whenever you appear, you leave me with that grace. I am
Oh,
trembling with fear, but I know that you will disappear just as I awake, a whisper in my ear. Well, I believe that somewhere in the past something was between you and I, my dear.
no. Those synths in the background, they remind me of another song. Oh, that oh my God. Is that another callback?
Between you and I, my
It's not High
dear.
Water or something, is it?
Remains with me
Or
to
Hypnosis?
this day. No matter what I do, the scar will never fade.
Oh, oh. Oh no. This is groovy. Got a bit of hip hop. Bit of hip hop.
So let's make trouble in the dream world. Hijack heaven with another memory. Go
Ooh.
and make the most of the turning tide. It's just split what's left of the burning silence. Don't wait, 'cause this could be the last time you
Oh
turn
wow.
up in the river.
There's also again he's using his own vocals in the background of like it's quite sort of haunting ooh in the background there. Oh, but that hip hop beat, two's back on the pads. Wow. Okay, let's just break down the opening bit. So, why are you never real? Whenever you appear, you leave me with the grace. I am trembling with fear, but I know that you will disappear just as I awake. Whisper in my ear. So, why are you never real? I mean, that is apparition right there, right? That is a ghostly figure, a spirit of something, of saying that I can feel your presence, but you're not real. I can't touch you. You're not tangible. He's pretty much explicitly describing some kind of dream figure here. And as I said in the previous song, that is how your sort of unconscious thoughts speak to you within your dreams, different symbols and traits and emotions. Um, so whenever you appear, you leave me with that grace. I am trembling with fear, but I know that you will disappear just as I awake. Whisper in my ear. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it? And he's saying that, when I wake, that they disappear. So again, it's that dreamlike state that they are connecting. His unconscious is trying to connect with the conscious, and again, it's like what happened in Are You Really Okay? It's starting to stumble him, startling him awake, to the point now where he's waking up trembling with fear. It's almost like, he wants this apparition, right? This thing to appear, to be real, but also at the same time, but their appearance also terrifies him because he knows that they will just disappear again, like they always do. Again, it's that anxious avoidance kind of relationship and attachment that he has, but it's all internal now, which is, I mean, it's crazy. Well, I believe somewhere in the past, something was between you and I, my dear. And again, it kind of goes back to what this whole album has been when he's reflecting. It's all been sort of fragments and fractures of memories of things that he's trying to put together, not in a chronological order, but it's like he's saying, like, he's not saying, I know exactly what happened here, because he's saying, I believe. And when he says that, there's uncertainty. He's trying to recollect. It's like something happened, something existed, but he's not quite sure what it was. And that kind of really is like psychological residue, which, Jung uses and refers to a lot, because the relationship has ended externally, but it's still within, and it's still being lived through internally, psychologically. And it remains with me to this day. No matter what I do, the scar will never fade. Again, he talks about wounds and scars a lot, doesn't he? And I think he uses wound and scars as a symbol of the relationship, both because I think physically what it's done to him, scars and wounds, self-harm potentially, but also metaphorically as well. It's caused an open wound within himself, within his mind, and the scars, which are the long-lasting kind of memories and the trauma that have left marks within him, again, emotionally and psychologically. So the scar, when he says the scar will never fade, in Are You Really Okay? He said there, I cannot fix your wounds. Now he's saying this scar will never fade. So you could say that in Are You Really Okay? He discovered the wound. Now in the apparition, you could then say he realizes the wound has become part of him. I mean, that's a significant development right there. And then it goes into the hip hop bit. So let's just go back a little bit.
Inside, it just split what's left of the burning silence. Don't wait, 'cause this could be the last time you turn up in the reveries of my mind. Or wake up to a suicide frenzy. Loaded dreams still leave me down to
And again, that was another linkage to Are You Really Okay? Where, he's startled and he saw crimson dripping onto the carpet. And now he's saying, I wake up to a suicide frenzy. It's literally like now the unconscious is bleeding into his conscious, and it is that waking up moment of, you know, oh God, oh my God, this actually is real.
loaded dreams still leave me down to leave. Somewhere in the past, something was between
It's something.
you and I, my dear.
It's trying to recollect it, but it's
With me to this day, no matter what I do, this wound will never heal. Why
oh. 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 Oh God, I was laughing because that whole was it let me stay or take me with you. I mean, again, anxious avoidance, that push and pull, I mean, it's just there, isn't it? Um, so let's make trouble in the dream world, hijack heaven with another memory now. I make the most of the turning tide. It just split what's left of the burning silence. Oh God, I mean, honestly, this is just. So let's make trouble in the dream world. It's basically saying like if I can't have you in reality, let's make our heaven, as in this relationship, or what. It's almost like he's kind of, going back to the good old days almost. Let's make trouble in the dream world, right? I'll meet you in the unconscious. Hijack heaven with another memory now. Yeah, so this is like just beautiful, isn't it? Hijacking heaven. So heaven obviously is traditionally where something, perfect exists. It's the divine, right? It's purity. Now, you could say that his version of that person is his heaven, or the memory of that person is his version of heaven. And you could link this actually to Take Me Back to Eden, right? To the album title. Because if Eden represents the lost state of wholeness, and that's what he's trying to get back to, then memories of this relationship can become attempts to recreate, the lost state, for example. So what is he saying? If I can't return to Eden, I'll just recreate it in my dreams. Oh my God. You know, uh, but I guess if he's doing that, then that is a huge problem, because again, it's not real. Um, I make the most of the turning tide. And the things with tides as well, again, it's that push and pull. Tides come and go, right? And you can say that it's just like the apparition, it comes, it disappears, it comes back, and then it disappears again when he wakes. And you could say that that's practically the emotional rhythm almost of an anxious avoidant relationship. It just splits what's left of the burning silence. It just splits what's left of the burning silence as well. And if you say silence is it's almost like repression, right? And then the burning is fire. It's intensity, almost. You could say it's like an emotional intensity. So you could say that the apparition splits and interrupts the silence. Again, it's like the unconscious is breaking through the repression here, that he's been trying to kind of suppress it for so long, but now it's at the forefront here. And I think here with the apparition, right? And if you're taking the apparition as a symbol of the relationship of the female potentially, and that the female could be sleep here, and it's almost like he's trying to suppress it, but actually the apparition is like, no, 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 no. You got to face this. You got to face what's happened here, whatever happened within the relationship between them. He's got to face it in order to get over it, in order to become whole again. And this symbolization, this figure, this dreamlike thing that's starting to eat into his conscious thoughts. I don't know. I don't know. Um, don't wait, because this could be the last time you turn up in the reveries of my mind. I wake up to a suicide friend loaded dreams still leave me empty. Oh, so again, it's like I can create this relationship again in my mind, and I can I can make it feel real again in my dreams, but when I wake up, actually, it still doesn't fill that void, whether that's emotionally or psychologically within me. I'm still empty. I'm still lost. I'm still not whole. So again, yes, 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 he is enjoying the moments of having being in within this relationship again, feeling it again, but also when he wakes up, because he knows it's not real, it's almost like he needs to go back into the unconscious again to face it, to try and integrate it almost. So there's still that repression here. And I think the whole sort of suicide frenzy as well is, I think it's how distraught he is of the realization, it hits him hard that when he goes into this dream, sleep or whatever it is, and the apparition is there, and you could say, I keep saying it, about the relationship and about how amazing it was and how it made him feel, but because of it not being real anymore. And you could also actually say it's going back to missing limbs, right? It is that missing part of him, but psychologically, because he knows that the relationship is dead. He knows it doesn't exist anymore, but he's still playing it. It's still the echoes within his mind that is still playing it there. And when it's happening, he's clutching onto it. But then when it's startling him awake and he's realizing it's just devastating to him, it's a suicide frenzy. It's almost like he's crying out for help by wanting to self-harm himself, because that's how upset and distraught and sad he is that maybe this relationship is over. And not because, again, I think the relationship was good for him, it's because it made him feel something, or it made him feel. There were times within that relationship where it made him feel wanted, because it wasn't always the case. So again, it's that anxious avoidant kind of relationship. Oh, so I believe somewhere in the past something was between you and I, my dear, and it remains with me to this day. No matter what I do, this wound will never heal. Yeah, I mean, I think, this is all pretty straightforward here. And it's funny, I said it earlier that he's saying something. That's what I was saying when it was playing. It's something somewhere in the past. Something was between. He's recollecting it, but it's almost like it's been so long now that he can't actually remember what it actually was. You and I, my dear, and it remains with me to this day. No matter what I do, this wound will never heal. So whatever happened between them, was it the breakup, or was it something that he did, or was it something that she did? But it's an open wound that has hurt him, and it still lingers to this day. He still feels the rawness within him. It's a scar. Scars never disappear. They just slowly fade away over time, but they're still there. There's still a reminder within him. Um, why are you never real? The shifting states you follow me through, unrevealed. Just let me go or take me with you. Yeah, I mean, that is. And I think when he says unrevealed as well, he's now actually realizing that there is a shadow. There is something in there that he needs to deal with. And he doesn't quite know what it is, but he's recognized that there is something which is really important for integration. Right. And now it's about understanding. It's about peeling back those tiny little layers that he's been talking about. Especially in it was Aqua Regia. I mean, that was all about the sort of the minute details, right? Picking it apart and understanding it, and that's kind of what he's talking about here. It's like I know there's something there um, that I haven't dealt with yet, and I need to deal with it. And then just let me go or take me with you. It's that repression of let me go, or the integration of take me with you. And I think this is now he's on the precipice of having to decide and make a decision. I either try and live on like this or do something that I will regret, or I decide to integrate and start facing this. And this album really does feel like, again, like I said, it's a reflection, but I think it's just the start of the integration process of being able to become his authentic self and whole again. That's right, let's carry it on, shall we? Because I think that's where we got up to. Oh, we got wailing in the background. God. Oh, wow. It's really familiar. Oh. Oh, what a song. I mean, you honestly just never know what you're going to get with Sleep Token, do you? They just blow my mind every single time I hear them, I see them. So he was just kind of repeating then that verse there, which again is, I guess, in emphasizing the whole thing about realizing that actually this projection of this other person is actually living within him now. And I think that is what the apparition is about. You had Are You Really Okay, where he sees his wounds or potentially the other person's wound. But here the apparition is, now I see you, I see the wound, and I see the relationship and all its faults within me. So is he now realizing as well that actually all the wrongdoings that he did and the reason why it broke down in that relationship potentially, and that the apparition again is an archetype of something, of some way of, yes, this was all, you know, showing him, oh yeah, this was all lovely and this is kind of what it felt like, but also this is what it caused. And this is what you did. And I think this is a different story, you know, from sort of a man losing a woman. Because you can say, you know, man loses a woman, a man loses a relationship. Relationship becomes projection. Projection reveals unconscious material. Unconscious material becomes an apparition. And then man must eventually integrate what he has been projecting. And going back to what I said at the beginning about him using you a lot, and why it's so clever, because it means that the narrative that we're witnessing here, we're not supposed to be able to cleanly separate them. And I think he's doing this deliberately, because I think they are all intertwined and entangled amongst each other. And that's why they all are so relevant to us in some kind of way, because of the different narratives and different perspectives that they can attach onto. It's just, I've never known anything quite like this in my life. So anyway, we're going to end it there for today, for episode 16. I'm going to go and get some more cold and flu capsules. And we will obviously, I'll see if we can go back to 3, or maybe it's going to put everything out of joint. Probably we'll continue with 2 songs per episode for Take Me Back to Eden, and then I will reassess the situation. But thank you again for being here. Really, really appreciate your support. Please like, please subscribe. Please keep your comments and theories and thoughts in the comment section, because you know I love it. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode. I love you and leave you, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome to the show. I'm the first to sing, taking it all in. Let the record play, let the journey